Hello students, in this video I'm going to introduce project 1 for your course INTA313. Now this project has a maximum grade of 20 marks and your submission date is on 2nd of November before 11:59 p.m. Now in this project you are asked to use 3ds Max software to model a hotel reception area. To complete this project, you will need to form groups of 4 to 5 students. And the first step is for you to design the reception area that demonstrates the benefits of 3D printing, which we're going to explain in the 3D printing lecture. And you will have to use parametric or organic modeling techniques. So you cannot go with basic shapes, you will have to go with something a bit more complicated in modeling. The reception area should fit in 5 by 5 by 5 millimeters area. Okay, 5 by 5 by 5 meters, but does not need to fill the full area, which means if I have this area, which is 5 meters by 5 meters by 5 meters, I can add a reception divider or a wall. I can have the reception table, some lighting fixtures, waiting area, and so on. So they will fit into this 5 by 5 space, but you don't have to utilize the whole thing and make sure that everything is fully filled. Okay. The 3D printed model should be in a scale 1 to 25. Now, when you are modeling, you will not model into the actual scale. You have to model for 3D printing, you have to model in the scale of printing, which means you are going to model in a scale of 1 to 25. Now, if you have issues with converting scales, you should be able to do it by now. But if you have any issues, you can always go and search for scale converter. Now, when you select scale conversion calculator, you can find many websites that will do this for you. You can, first of all, change the scale ratio. We are asking you for 1 to 25. And then for the real length, I have, for example, 5 meters, so 5,000 millimeters, which means when I come to model in 3ds Max, I will put 200 millimeters. Okay, so the actual printed model, it will be 20 by 20 centimeters or 200 by 200 centimeters. Okay. Now, part A is individual. So each student in the group, within your group, you will have to decide. Each student will model one part of the reception area. So one will take the wall, one can take the table, the ceiling, the lighting fixtures. We have sculptures, waiting area, sofas, and so on. So you decide among yourself, you are 4 to 5 students, each one will take one of those elements. Then the second step is for each student to prepare 2 different 3D sketches with an idea of the materials. So again, 2 sketches, and they should be 3D sketches, or if you are going with 2D sketches, it's supposed to be actually showing your whole idea, not just a front view or just a plan view. I need to understand your whole idea before you start modeling it using 3ds Max. You should have an idea about the materials, the colors you will use, and show them to your instructor before approval no later than week 6 first lecture. Okay, so we as your instructors need to approve your design ahead of time. Otherwise, after week 6 first lecture, you are going to proceed on your own. We are not responsible to give you anything from our side. Make sure that you do this ahead of time so you don't lose time working or just on the sketches, just on the design, and then you will be late in submitting your design to the 3D printing shops. Now, each design must demonstrate one or more of the benefits of 3D printing. Okay, for example, being able to produce complex parts or self-assembly. We will have many other benefits that we're going to explain in the 3D printing lecture. You will make sure that your design is aesthetically pleasing and functions well, and all the pieces are of similar or complementary style. So you do have to sit together as a group and decide which style you are going to go with. So all your designs, when you add them together, they will look aesthetically pleasing, and also they need to function. So I cannot create something that will not be able to use it later on, as your user or the user of your space cannot use it later on. So again, aesthetically pleasing and functions well. Okay. If students don't get approval in the dedicated session, they will be responsible for completing the project without approval, and the instructor is not responsible for any delay in students' progress. So please keep this in mind. Now, each student will model their part using 3ds Max software. So first you have 2 sketches. After taking the approval, each student is going to use 3ds Max software to model their design. Now, when modeling your design in 3D Max, you need to make sure that you model your part in the same scale that you would like to 3D print. So again, you will model it in a scale of 1 to 25, not the real scale. If I'm going to design, for example, a wall, this wall is supposed to be 5 meters by 5 meters. Again, we start from the scale converter that 5 meters means 200 millimeters. So when I start modeling my wall, I will change the length, the width, and the height based on my scale. So the width will be 200, for example. The height will be 200. And then for the length, which is, let's say I'm going to use 200 millimeters as my length, is supposed to be 8 millimeters. So I will change this one to 8 millimeters. So this is my actual scale. This is the real scale, and this is the scale of 1 to 25. And this is what you're going to use when you are modeling, so the printer can print it without any problems. Okay. Now, one important thing that you need to know, that when you are 3D printing, the minimum thickness is not less than 2 millimeters at any point. So my wall here is 8 millimeter in thickness. I cannot go lower than 2 to 3 millimeters. Otherwise, the printer will not be able to print it. So make sure that everything you have is not less than 2 millimeters. Each student will create a video tutorial explaining how to model their part. The video tutorial will be done using any screen recording application. Okay, so you can use PowerPoint, Wondershare, and it must include the student's voice. So again, for the individual part, first of all, you're going to create a sketch. Second of all, you're going to use the 3D Max and try to model your sketch. And this sketch, again, you are supposed to use parametric or organic modeling techniques, and those don't have to be necessarily what we explained at the class. You can search for new techniques of modeling online. Okay, any type of advanced modeling you can use, but make sure that it is actually advanced. You cannot come and tell me that I have this wall and then I'm going to add bend modifier and use, for example, let's say X or Y axis. Let's go with X axis, and then I'm going to bend it. Okay, and then you will say that this is my model, for example. Okay, this is not advanced modeling. This is very basic. This is what we've covered last semester. So you will have to search for techniques in order to make sure that your design is actually complicated, your modeling is actually complicated. So you're done with your sketches, you're done with your modeling, you know how to model. Then you are going to create a video explaining to the rest of us how to model this piece. Because it's complicated enough, and because you've searched for videos on how to model it, then you have new knowledge, something that we did not explain in class, something that your colleagues don't know how to use. So you will create a video recording to explain how you did your modeling. Okay, now when you are modeling or when you are recording, you can use, for example, PowerPoint. So when you open PowerPoint, you can go to insert and screen recording. And when you click on screen recording, it's going to give you this, and then you can screen record. When you're done, you can pause it. It will be saved as a video here. Then you can take this video, right-click on the video itself, and you will find somewhere to save it to your PC or to your laptop. So you can use this for your screen recording. If you have any other softwares as well, you can use those. So this is the individual part. This is the part that each person is going to get different grade on. Each student will get different grade depending on their work and this part. Another important thing is, after you're done with your video, you can upload it to YouTube and then send us the link, because it will be heavy. So you will have to upload it to YouTube and send us the link, and we will be able to view it. Now part B is group work. In part B, you will merge all the models in one file. So you have 5 models. If you are a group of 5, you have 5 elements. I have the wall, I have the table, I have a sofa, a lamp, maybe some kind of a sculpture. I will add them all in one file and prepare it for printing. So you are going as a group to print one model on. Okay? Then you're going to 3D print the whole model of the reception area you created. You can use sanding paper to smooth your model. If you are planning to use glue or spray paint, make sure to request the support pieces from your printing provider. Now, before I continue, I'm just going to show you what is 3D printing basically, so you can understand what I'm saying. Now, 3D printing is when you use a machine and you upload your 3D model to this machine, it's going to start printing this 3D item, and it's going to go layer by layer until you have the 3D printed model at the end. Okay, now usually when we are printing something like this, it's going to go into the software and then it's going to the printer. Sometimes you're going to have some support material. Okay, this means, let me just try to find something. Yeah, for example, in here. So this is the actual model, but then those lines that I have here, those are only to support the model. After I'm done printing, I will break those and I will have my actual piece. Now, when you are printing, you can ask the printing shop to give you those pieces for you to be able to test if you are going to use glue, if you're going to use sanding paper, if you're going to use colors, anything that you would like to do. Because some students in previous years, they will go and spray the whole model and it will melt down. Or they will leave it in the sun and again it will melt. They will not have a model anymore. All of this will melt and become one piece of a plastic. Okay, so if you want to do anything, just ask them. They are going to throw it away anyways. So just ask them for the support material and you can test whatever you want on it before you do it on the actual model itself. Okay, the final model must be glued to a foam or cardboard structure. So at the end, even though you do have your design created, you will have to put it on a box or a flooring. So I have my floor and I have my wall. Okay, so at least you will have these 3 sides. And you can have a ceiling if you are going to hang something from it. Now, we don't want to make your printing costs more than what you need to print. So if you have something like this, or even without this, well, it depends on what you need. So you do have this kind of structure, and then you have those 3D printed pieces that you can put in this structure. If you want, you can print the whole thing. That's totally fine. You don't have to use foam or cardboard or anything. But if you feel, and if you, by the way, if you don't have anything hanged to the ceiling, you can remove it. Maybe your ceiling is part of your 3D printing. You are designing your ceiling, okay? Now, if you want to print it, again, you can print it. If you don't want to print it, because it will cost you a bit more, you can use foam or cardboard structure. So basically floor and 2 walls. If you're not designing the ceiling, you can go with 1 floor, 1 wall, and a ceiling. Okay, so it's totally up to you. After you 3D print, so this is the main step here. You are merging all the models and then you 3D print them. After that, you will need to create a presentation. This presentation, it will include a cover page including your names and IDs, both names and IDs. Okay, so make sure that you have those. Then you will have a slide showing the sketches done by each student. So you are 5 students in the group. You have 2 sketches each. At the end, I'm going to see 5 slides, and each slide 2 sketches, a total of 10 sketches. Okay, write the name of the student and their sketches and so on. And then you're going to have a screenshot of the 3D merged model. Sketches, along with a screenshot of the individual final 3D model. So each slide will be for 1 student. You add your 2 sketches and then your 3D model screenshot. Then you're going to have a screenshot of the merged 3D model that you used to 3D print. Then you're going to have a minimum of 2 high-resolution images that shows your 3D printing and finished lampshade. Okay, sorry, it's not a lampshade, it's a reception. So you are going to have 2 high-resolution images of your 3D printed reception. The background must be white background. You must have proper lighting, so you have a professional image at the end. And those 2 images should be from different perspective views. Can you add more? Yes, totally, you can add more. If you feel that you have more images to showcase your design in a better way, you can add more. But a minimum is 2 images. Then you will have to take a high-resolution image of your printed model next to a ruler. So you will put a ruler and you will take this image so it can show the scale of your image. And don't forget to write the scale that you use for printing, which is 1:25. Now, last but not least, you're going to write a reflection of your experience of 3D printing your model. You should answer the following questions as a group. How does your model show the benefits of 3D printing and why it is the ideal way to print your piece? Now, we do have many ways of manufacturing. I can use CNC machines. I can use basic techniques like going to a carpenter or going to anyone that can create my item. Why did you use 3D printing? Is it actually needed for your design or not? Okay, so this is very important. What are your thoughts on experience of 3D printing in general? And what have you learned because of this experience? What worked well and what did not? You are not going to lose marks if you told me this. If you told me that, for example, this did not work well. This is an experience for you. You are experimenting with 3D printing for the first time. So it's very important for me to know what went well and what did not. If you have any problems, this is where you can let us know. For example, my modeling techniques was not good. So when I went to print it, they told me that I have to repeat the model because of those issues. So I know what issues all the students are supposed to avoid next time. Okay? For example, when you print it, you use something and this thing ruined your model. anything that happened that did not work well, just list it here, okay? And also what worked well, what did you do and made this experience better for yourself, better than your colleagues. So make sure that you mention those. And what would you do differently if you were to do this project again? Now you are going to use 3D printing again in other courses. Here you are just experimenting, you are trying it for the first time. Later on you're going to use it in furniture design, maybe in other courses. So what would you do differently to make your experience much smoother and better, and everything will go efficiently better than what you did this time? So make sure that you mention those. Now for this part, the reflection, please don't use ChatGPT because it will show as very generic answers. This is what you did. This is your work as a group. So please make sure that you write it yourself and you answer those questions according to your situation. Come on. So each question will be in a separate slide. That's it. This is the project. So for your final submission, for part A, which is individual, you're going to submit your 3ds Max file of the model. And please downsave it to 2024. If you can downsave it even more to 2023, you can. And then a video of the tutorial created, and this is where you're going to send us the link, or the YouTube link, basically. And then for part B as a group, you're going to submit the presentation, which is in PDF format, and make sure if you have any videos included that they are working in the presentation, because previously we did receive some presentations with videos that we cannot open. And then a 3ds Max file of the merged model, you're going to submit that. And then the physical 3D model, you're going to bring it as well and submit it, and make sure that you have your student IDs and section number written on the back of the model anywhere. For the submission deadline, it is going to be Sunday, 2nd of November, 2025, before 11:59 p.m. Okay, so before 11:59, before midnight, all your submissions must be done on Blackboard. The physical 3D printed model will be submitted on your first lecture after the submission. So 2 sections will be submitting it on Monday. The other 2 sections will be submitting it on Tuesday. So you will bring it with you in the lecture and submit it to your instructor. All individual submissions must be named using this format. So please make sure that you use it exactly as it is. You have this PDF. I will be uploading it for you, so you can just copy it and fill whatever you have. So INTA313 underscore and then project 1, and then your section number, and then your ID, and then tutorial video, for example, or 3ds Max video. For the group, you are going to change it to this name. And after you divide yourself in groups, you'll give you your group number. So group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, and so on. You are advised to upload all the materials on Blackboard a minimum of 4 hours before the deadline to avoid having any problems, especially as your files might take a lot of time to upload if they are huge in size or your internet is weak. So you already used 3ds Max before, you've already submitted files before, you know that your files are going to be huge in size. You know that sometimes on the same day you're going to have problems with your internet. So we are advising you to upload a minimum of 4 hours before the deadline, because we're not going to tolerate any late submissions. Make sure that you are aware of this from now. If your files cannot be uploaded due to size, you have the option to either submit each file individually. So I will submit the presentation, and then I will submit the 3ds Max in a second submission, and then the physical 3D printed model is actually going to be submitted on site, so no worries about that. Another option is for you to submit a link with all your files in it. But if you are going to submit a link, you need to make sure, first of all, it does not have an expiration date. I might be downloading your submissions on the same day, or maybe I'm going to download it after 2 weeks. If your link is available only for 1 week, and then I will come to open it and it does not open, and then I will ask you to send me a new link, this means that you're submitting late because I'm not sure what was in your first submission. Okay, so if you are submitting a link, it does not have an expiration date. This is very important. The second thing, it does not need authorization to open or editable folders. Now, if I click on the link and it says that I'm not authorized to open it, I don't have access to this file, this means that you did not submit for me, because again, I will have to ask you to give me authorization. Okay, the third thing is it's not an editable folder. So if you're using a software a program like Drive, or you're using Dropbox or something like that, and you will be able to change your files after the submission without me knowing, then automatically you are going to be considered late in your submission. Okay, I do think that the best thing for you to do is to submit the files individually or submit them ahead of time so you don't lose any grades. If you cannot submit on Blackboard on time, you can submit a link, but at the same time make sure that you send the files on Teams, just in case I couldn't open the link or it had one of these 3 problems, then I have a backup on Teams. You can tell me, okay, I sent it on Teams, you can download them from there. Instructors are not responsible for requesting access. Any link that does not stay accessible till the end of the semester will result in getting a 0 grade, and any links for folders that are editable will be considered as submitted late. Okay? And finally, this is important not only for the project, for everything that you use 3ds Max for. Remember to save your 3ds Max file as increments each 15 minutes to avoid repeating a lot of work if you start having problems with your file. That's it for the project. I'm just going to show you some examples now. Now, these examples are using organic modeling techniques, but you can use, again, any advanced modeling technique. So, for example, I'm going to use this reception counter, and then I'm going to use the ceiling design with it, and then I'm going to use this kind of lighting fixture and this waiting sofa. So those are 4 elements. I'm going to add them all together to create my design. We advise you that you don't use images from the internet, but at the end, what we care about in this course is not only your design ability, but your modeling ability. As long as you know how to model it in 3ds Max, this is the most important part. Okay? I hope everything is clear. If you have any questions, you can always refer to me or Ms. Kauthar, and we will be happily there to help you in answering any questions you have. That's it, and have a nice day.